Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to a brand new video. This is of course your Premier League predictions for Game Week 16, and let's get into it and talk about how I did for Game Week 15 in my Premier League predictions. So here are the scores on screen that I predicted, and we're going to go through the results and that. For the first game of the Game Week, it was a game between Villa and Arsenal. I predicted Arsenal to get a 2-0 win. I was completely wrong because Villa won that game in the last kick of the game, scoring in the last minute basically to win the game and beat Arsenal 2-1. Is that title slowly slipping away for Arsenal, and Man City slowly catching up with only them being 2 points behind now? Next up was Bournemouth versus Chelsea. I said a 2-1 win to Bournemouth because I thought they would actually win this game. It ended up being a 0-0 draw. I mean, Bournemouth missed an absolute sitter, so they probably should have scored in this game, probably should have won. I didn't really watch the game. I just saw the sitter, and that's it. So, based off that, I'm saying Bournemouth should have definitely scored in this game. But they didn't, and there was a 0-0 draw. The next game was Everton versus Forest. I predicted Everton to win 2-0. They ended up winning 3-0, so I wasn't that far off predicting them to win 2-0. And yeah, so that's one prediction I got right with the correct winners. The next game was City versus Sunderland. I thought going into this game, Sunderland will put up a fight and it'll be 2-1. City ended up winning pretty comfortably with a 3-0 win, so City won that 3-0. Next game was Newcastle versus Burnley. I said it would be a 3-0 win to Newcastle. It ended up being a 2-1 win to Newcastle. So that game, that's what happened. The next game was Spurs and Brentford. I said 2-0 Spurs. I thought they would win this. I know they've been poor at home, but I thought they would just win this, but they lost. Wait, what happened? No, sorry, I predicted there'll be a draw. Yeah, I predicted there'll be a draw in this game. Sorry, that it'll draw 1-1. It ended up being Spurs winning this game 2-0. Yeah, I don't know why I looked at the wrong result. I looked at the wrong thing. But yeah, it was a 1-1 draw when I predicted a 1-1. I predicted a 1-1 draw. Oh my god. And it ended up being a 2-0 Spurs win. So I got that one wrong. Next game was Leeds versus Liverpool. I predicted a 2-1 win to Leeds United. And it ended up being an absolute great second half game. 3-3, 6 goals in the second half. Being 2-0 down, coming back to make it 2-2, the subs changing it, and then going 3-2 down before Tanaka right at the end, equalising to make it 3-3 and giving us a point. The next game was Brighton versus West Ham. Going into this game, I said Brighton would win it 3-1. It ended up being a 1-1 draw. So yeah, West Ham did get a point in this game where I thought Brighton would comfortably beat them, so I got that one wrong. Next game was Palace versus Fulham. Palace, I said they'll win 2-0. I was close with this because Fulham ended up scoring in this game. It was a 2-1 Crystal Palace win. And the final game of the game week, I predicted a 3-0 win to Man United. It ended up being a 4-1 win to Man United because, yeah, Wolves actually scored a goal to make it 1-1. And you thought, oh my god, are they going to drop points to Wolves? And then it ended up just going the complete other way around with, Man United just smashing them basically and, yeah, winning that game. But yes, going into game week 16 of your Premier League predictions, my Premier League predictions, let's get into it. So the first game of the game week that we have got is actually Chelsea versus Everton. Of course, Chelsea not on a great run of form. Everton, though, having a good season, picking up form, playing well. Maybe they can challenge for Europe. Maybe they can make Europe this year. They can challenge for it, definitely. Going into this game, I expect this game, though, to end in a draw at the Bridge. I think at Stamford Bridge is going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1. A 1-1 draw between Chelsea and Everton. Next game we got is Liverpool versus Brighton. Liverpool have not been good, of course, this season. They are at home against Brighton. And I have a feeling this game is also, just like the Chelsea-Everton game, it's going to end in a 1-1 draw. I just think it's going to be a draw, and I think it's going to be the exact same scoreline, being 1-1 between Liverpool and Brighton. Because I think Liverpool will score in this game. I know they're very bad defensively, and they might concede a couple, but I just feel like, I don't know, I have a feeling they might get a point, and I feel like it might be a 1-1 draw. I'm just going to predict a 1-1 draw. So going into the next game we got is Burnley versus Fulham. I think Fulham win this game comfortably. I think they win it easily. I think they're going to win it 2-0. And yeah, even though Burnley are at home, I don't think they're going to get a result here. I think they're going to lose. And yeah, 2-0 Fulham, who I think have been, decent, in their last two games. Tough games as well against Palace and Man City. Unlucky to lose to Man City in that comeback where they could have got a point and then losing 2-1 to Crystal Palace, close game. I think they're going to beat Burnley, though, and they'll win this 2-0. Next game we got is Arsenal versus Wolves. I mean, as I said, will Wolves break the Derby record? I mean, the Derby record could be broken by Wolves. Arsenal 3-0. Yeah, comfortably, Arsenal just going to batter them 3-0 and keep their spot on top of the ladder for now. Next game we got is Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. Going into this game, I think it's going to be a 2-1 Manchester City win. I think City are going to have too much for Crystal Palace. I think they'll put up a fight and it'll be a close game. But City will just edge it at the end and win the game 2-1. Next game we got is Nottingham Forest versus Spurs. Going into this game, I'm going to say this. Spurs are going to win. I think Spurs are going to win this game. I think Spurs are going to have too much for Crystal Palace. Spurs are going to have too much for Nottingham Forest. Oh my god, I got that wrong. For Nottingham Forest, I think they're going to win this game 2-0. And yeah, I think away from home they've been very good this season, Spurs, and I think they'll beat Forest 2-0. Next game we've got is Newcastle versus Sunderland. Massive game, the biggest game of the game week, you probably would say, going into this one. Both teams, of course, winning the win. A massive rivalry, of course, with Newcastle versus Sunderland. I think Newcastle are going to win this game, though, and I'm pretty sure if Newcastle do win, it puts them above Sunderland. I think they're going to have too much for Sunderland, but I think it's not going to be. It's going to be one of those tight games. Going into these games, every fan knows that when you're going against your rivals, it's always a close game, no matter where they are no matter where they are on the ladder, no matter how many points behind or in front a team is. You just know that anything can happen. And I think Newcastle are going to beat Sunderland, but I think it's going to be 2-1. So a 2-1 Newcastle win, very close game, but I think Newcastle are going to win this 2-1. I'm excited to watch it, to be honest. Next game coming up is West Ham versus Aston Villa. Well, Aston Villa are on fire right now. You could honestly say maybe they're in a title race. I know people won't like to say that because it's just Aston Villa and they're not one of the big six. But performances-wise, they've been very good this season. They've turned it around completely from when at the start of the season they were near the relegation zone, even in the relegation zone. And they've been unbelievable. They've been just unbelievable. And I think they'll have way too much for West Ham and they'll win this game. I think it's going to be a 2-0 Aston Villa win. Next game we got is Brentford versus Leeds United. Of course, Leeds United coming off the back of an unbelievable week against, the likes of Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool, getting 4 points out of those games. Brentford, we never do well in London. I'll say that, and I think every Leeds fan knows this. We hate going to London because we never do well. And what do I think going into this game? I think we're going to win. I still have confidence that we're going to win just based off the last week and how we performed in the last week. Brentford are a decent team, and if we win this game, we're 1 point behind them as well. So it is a big game where we could be 1 point behind Brentford. And bring another team closer into this relegation battle, which would be massive for us to do. Or hopefully for us, just get away from it, to be honest. But yeah, I think we're going to win this game. I think it's going to be a 2-1 Leeds United win. Just a 2-1 win. And the final game of the game week we got is Man United versus Bournemouth. What do I think going into this game at Old Trafford? I think Bournemouth are going to have too much for Man United in this game. I think Bournemouth are going to win this game. I have a feeling Semenyo will get a goal. I know he hasn't scored in a little bit and he hasn't been scoring. But I think he's going to score in this game. I think it's going to be a 2-1 Bournemouth win against Man United. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. These are my score predictions on the screen right now. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.